to another episode of Quick Tips. We're currently in the middle of a series that I'm calling Overcoming Injuries, where we talk about different types of injuries, how to overcome them, and how to use them to your advantage as much as possible. This episode is going to focus on the concept of avoiding an injury. Now, in general, I really wouldn't recommend someone that's studying an instrument to avoid something. If you come across something that you don't enjoy doing, or that's difficult for you, or that you just don't understand, you should study it. You should get in there, you should figure out what's going on, find some things that are interesting about it, and add it to the things that you can do for sure. However, when it comes to injuries, I think sometimes in a very particular situation, there's nothing else to do but avoid the injury. So if you are moving in a particular way that causes pain or discomfort, or just doesn't feel right, doesn't feel natural, then you might need to avoid that movement. And I'll give you two examples of this aspect at work. The first is not really an injury, but it's the same type of concept that we're talking about here. So several years ago, I was sitting in on a masterclass with the world famous guitarist David Russell. If you don't know David Russell, do check him out. He's got a ton of stuff up on YouTube, and he's incredible. I love listening to him. So he was explaining to the audience what he does with his A nail, because at the time he was using a fake nail. I assume that he still is today, but he used a part of a ping pong ball for his A nail because he said it started to grow with a kink in it. So he explained his process, and then someone from the audience asked him, how does that hold up when you do rasguados? Because you're hitting the back side of the nail, and they wanted to know, does it catch, does it fly off? And his answer, I'm paraphrasing here, but his answer was, I don't use it in rasguados. He said, I don't do a ton of rasguado, but he said, when I do, he said, I might just do M&I finger or try and throw thumb in, something like that, but he said, I just don't use it. So that's not really an injury, but that is an example of this concept. So the second example I'll give you is a personal example, and it does pertain to having an injury. So I think one of the coolest techniques on classical guitar or fingerstyle guitar is the plucking hand harmonic, because of course you can fret harmonics over here, but you can also pluck them with your plucking hand and do some really cool things with harmonics, right? Most guitarists that I've talked to and seen, they use their A finger when they execute this technique, because they say it sounds the best. And I agree, it also does in my hand. However, I noticed that after doing this technique, I found that when I would do the harmonics with my A finger, and I would do a lot of them, because some pieces have a lot of harmonics, and I've even written pieces that have a ton of harmonics, where you're just doing them over and over and over, I would start to get this weird sensation in the bottom part of my A finger. It just felt kind of painful, and it felt kind of sore, and just like the finger was not working right. And it didn't feel like a muscular thing, because it didn't get better with time. Every time I did a lot of harmonics, I would feel it would feel irritated, and then the next day usually it would feel a little bit sore, and it never improved. And eventually I came to the conclusion that my A finger doesn't want to work that way. So the solution that I came up with was to totally avoid the A finger when I'm doing plucking hand harmonics, and instead learn how to use my pinky. Now it's become my go-to finger for harmonics with the plucking hand. And not only have I found a substitute for this technique that was causing me problems, it's strengthened my hand. It's given my pinky a very important job that it didn't have before. And I've made videos in the past about, what to do with your pinky, because you can very easily just not use it, and it can just be hanging out and have no job. But if you strengthen the pinky, it's an important part of your hand. It should make your hand stronger. use a similar creative process like you would in your music if you were trying out new fingerings, or if you're trying to learn a new technique and having to experiment to figure out how to move in new ways. Use that same type of process to expand your technique, gain something that you can do on your instrument, and solve it that way. So even though you are technically avoiding doing something, at the same time you're gaining a lot of knowledge and ability that you didn't have before. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it helps you overcome your own injuries if you happen to have them. Come join us over at the A-Guitar community. There you'll find a ton of instructional material, step-by-step tutorials, lesson videos, live streams, exclusive performances. I love to share what I'm working on with the A-Guitar community, and even ask questions and get people's feedback about decisions that I have to make or things that they're interested in, stuff like that. So come join us over there for a lot of content that's related to fingerstyle guitar playing. And thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day.